Before Ernesto Valverde took over as manager of FC Barcelona, his name wasn't known outside of Spain. Now he's become a household name. The same can be said of Barca's new man, Quique Setién. Barca-Granada isn't a matchup that most would care about otherwise, but the world will be watching to see what's changed in less than a week. Before that though, I figured we should get to know Quique Setién. Hi, I'm Dan Hilton, and this is the Barcelona Podcast, YouTube exclusive. The thing that has filled Culés with hope more than anything is the ideology of their new manager. Setién has professed his admiration for Johan Cruyff and a desire to play as he believed was the right way to play. While Real Madrid fans will get frustrated at how Barcelona seems to assign morality to the style of play that the fan base and the club have come to associate with the Blaugrana, it's great to see that Setién believes in that dogma. He believes in it so much to the point that, with his time at Real Betis, it was absurd at times. In a good way, and I mean on the field. The high line played by the defense may have been the highest line that Spain had ever seen, and Barcelona saw firsthand at the Camp Nou what that side was capable of at its best. Unfortunately, at its worst, Setién's Real Betis side lacked discipline defensively, and the top-level attacking talent up top just wasn't there, leading to a drought of goals and a lack of results. For these reasons and the lack of big clubs on his resume, the man born Enrique Setién, the 61-year-old from Santander, was not the first choice. In fact, it's unfortunate and upsetting that we do know that Setién was third choice for Barca's manager job, behind Xavi and Ronald Koeman, who both said no. This may not be the worst thing, though. As Sid Lowe wrote in Fear and Loathing in La Liga, Frank Rijkaard was also third choice when he got the job. Oddly enough, Koeman was the second choice then, too, and he went on to win the club's first Champions League since 1992, did Frank Rijkaard. But being third choice shouldn't be seen as a bad thing. Of all the other candidates, each one had major red flags. Xavi is still lacking coaching experience. Francisco Pimienta may not have been able to command respect in the locker room. Many of Koeman's teams don't necessarily have a reputation of playing the Barca way. And as for Mauricio Pochettino, well, do culés really want a manager that has been so adamant about not wanting to manage Barcelona? This leaves Setién, who got his style to work in La Liga and has worked his way up the ladder to get a shot at a top job. Before he was a manager, he was a professional player like all the other candidates as well. He played for his local side Racing Santander through the late 70s and 80s. He played at Atletico Madrid, Logroñés, Racing again, and Levante, plus 3 appearances for the Spanish national team. He was a sporting director at Racing Santander when the manager was fired and he took over. He guided them back to La Liga, but he didn't stay long. He moved to Polideportivo Ejido in the Segunda Division, but was fired after 15 matches and only 2 wins. 1 game as manager of the Equatorial Guinea team was next, before moving to Logroñés in the 3rd Division. He was again fired for bad performances and found himself at another 3rd Division side, CD Lugo. He guided them to promotion in 2012 in his 3rd season at Lugo, and he stayed for another 3 seasons. He got his first outright La Liga job with Las Palmas, taking them from a relegation fighting side to a team that finished 11th the next season. The following season was a 14th place finish and again survival in La Liga, leading to Real Betis to come calling. A 4-3 win over Barcelona in November of 2018 was a highlight, as was finishing 6th in his first season. However, 2019 was not as good as 2018, and a 10th place finish was underwhelming. He has never won a trophy in his coaching career, though he's also only managed 4 seasons of top-flight football. The most important note is that he's never had attacking players in the same sphere as Lionel Messi, obviously, but even weapons like Antoine Griezmann, Ousmane Dembélé, and Ansu Fati are upgrades to what he's had, though Joaquin is no slouch. It's unknown what formation he will employ, but don't be surprised if we see the 3-4-2-1 that he used for Las Palmas and Real Betis. A 4-3-3 or 4-4-2 is also possible, but with the lack of Luis Suarez, we're all quite curious as to which players he'll use and where he'll put them on the field. I'll close this by saying that I'm loving the optimism around the club right now. I'm not too happy about the Jean-Claire Todibo loan to Schalke and the reported buyback rising to 50 million euros if Schalke make the loan permanent for 25 million. I want to be optimistic about the around 11 million euro signing for Mateus Fernandes from Palmeiras. The 21-year-old Brazilian midfielder being bought obviously without the change of first-team manager in mind makes me nervous about that transfer as well. But transfer uncertainty aside, I'm quite optimistic about Setién's eye for actually using La Masia talents and not just saying it. With Frankie de Jong suspended against Granada, Setién kept Riqui Puig out of Barcelona B's match with Badalona, hoping to get him ready for his La Liga debut against Granada. Setién, who's also had tons of training every day with the first team just to get accustomed to him and make sure his ideas of run are employed in practice, was also in attendance at that Barcelona B match for Badalona, and Monchu had a pretty good showing. He's also called up Juvenil A players forward Juame Jardi and center back Javier Mbayamba to training. While it's not uncommon for academy players to be practicing with the first team, it is telling that the first 2 players outside of Barca B that he selected was a player who can play all across the front 3 and a tall ball-playing center back. The fact that we're having these kinds of conversations is terrific, and from a personal note, I'm really looking forward to all the content coming your way on this channel, the podcast, the website, and the Patreon. I spent all of last season making profiles on some of the most promising players in La Masia, and I'm excited to have a manager that I believe will actually be utilizing a bunch of those players, along with Fati and Carlos Perez. If you're as excited about this new era like I am, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and as always, until next time, Força Barça.